Welcome to the Emotional Balance Sheet, the go-to podcast for parents with multiple kids, especially those with twins, triplets, or more, who are navigating the maze of modern family life and personal finance. Whether you're overwhelmed by education or retirement planning, parenting dilemmas, career transitions, or trying to define your purpose and plan, we're here to guide you with empathy, encouragement, and expertise. Hosted by Paul Fenner, founder of Tama Capital, a certified financial planner and parent to 4 kids, including a set of triplets. Our podcast is your ally in the quest for financial peace of mind, proving that money matters, but family comes first. Subscribe now and join our community of empowered parents at tamacapital.com. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Clients of Tama may retain positions in the securities discussed in this podcast.
What does comprehensive financial planning even mean? At Tama Capital, it means a family office where lifestyle planning such as retirement, college, portfolio management, and tax prep and planning are all under one umbrella. But it goes beyond numbers. We focus as much on the emotional side of financial planning as we do on the financial side. We get you. We understand your challenges of building a family, business or career, and a healthy life. We are devoted to wealth planning for families like yours because we are you. Learn how our family can help your family by visiting tamacapital.com. Hi, and welcome back. As my triplets recently received their driver's permits, and it's still hard to say that out loud, and I prepare for another short course swim meet season with Madison, there's this idea that keeps coming back to me, and it's this. The highest dividend money pays is the ability to control your own time. Being able to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, provides a level of lasting happiness greater than any amount of fancy stuff that money can buy or even offer. And this is a point that Morgan Housel made in an article that he titled Financial Advice for My New Daughter. And I keep asking myself, if that's true, and I think it is, why do so many of us, myself included, spend so much time chasing money in ways that actually reduce our control over time? Let me tell you a story. Conversation I had last year. It was with a couple, both in their mid-40s, and they had 3 kids. On paper, they were absolutely crushing it. High incomes, top 10% of Americans, growing investment accounts, a great house, but they were miserable. They told me they hadn't had a dinner together as a family more than twice in the past month. And believe me, I could relate when they said that. It's weekend tournaments and travel teams that had turned into a second job. They were making great money, but had zero margin to actually be present. And one thing that the dad said to me that really stuck was that we tell ourselves we're doing this for the kids' future, but we're actually missing out on their childhood. Now, I can't necessarily speak to specifics about their situation without violating some confidentiality, but I can tell you is that this pattern shows up constantly. Families are working harder than ever to afford the life they think they should have, while the life that they actually want just kind of slips away. And Teresa and I aren't immune to this either. Like, I left a corporate CFO role before I joined Tama on a full-time basis years and years ago. I had good salary, great benefits, the whole package. But I was managing people, dealing with constant stress in the airport 3-4 times a month, and I'd come home completely depleted. And I remember sitting in my office one day thinking, I'm building someone else's empire while my kids are growing up without me. My triplets graduate in May of 2029. That's like roughly 3.5 years from now. Mackenzie graduates a year after that. This is the finite window I have. And I keep thinking about Morgan's point. money's highest dividend is time control. So here's what I left to wrestle with. We use money to buy future time, right? That's what retirement is for. You save enough so you can control time later. But what if later comes and the time you wanted to buy back is already gone? I see this generational pattern with the families I work with here at TAMA. As I work with clients, their adult kids, and even their parents. And you know what the older generation almost universally tells me? I wish I'd work less when the kids were home. That doesn't mean that I didn't come back and work more later. But it's not like I wish I'd save more. Not I wish I had a bigger house. I wish I'd been there. And the hard part, you can't see the finish line when you're in the throes of it. And believe me, I'm there. When your kids are young, it feels infinite. But when they come teenagers, like I'm dealing with right now, suddenly you realize you're counting down. And we get so caught up in this trap. We chase the promotion, the bigger house, the nicer car, telling ourselves it's all for the family. But the family doesn't need more stuff. They need us. And I think this is where Morgan is getting at. Money is a tool for buying autonomy. That's it. Not happiness directly, but the freedom to choose how we spend our source of ours. And I think happiness is a byproduct of how we spend our time. So the question is whether we're actually using it that way or whether we're convinced or we've convinced ourselves that someday, once we hit some imaginary number, then we'll have all the time in the world. But what if we can't get that time back we wanted? So here's what I want you to try this week. It's a simple, but it's probably going to be a very uncomfortable exercise. Write down 3 things you did last week primarily for money. Not because you wanted to, not because they align with what matters, but because they paid well or advanced your career. And I get it. I'm not asking anybody to give up their day job or career. I'm certainly not. But we need to ask ourselves, was the trade worth it? And like I said, it's not realistic for most of us to say, okay, I'm just going to give up my career. I'm not saying that. But what I'm asking is notice the trade-off. Because if you don't name them, you can't adjust. And as I often tell families I work with at TAMA, the plans that we build, financially, lifestyle, they're never set in stone. They're always adjustable. The point isn't to lock yourself into some rigid path. The point is to figure out what's enough so you can stop chasing more and start being more present. If this resonated, and I hope it does, I'd ask you to share it with another parent who's likely, like you, running too fast to notice where they're going. Because remember, money is a number, enough is a story. Make sure you're writing your own story. That's it for this week. We'll see you next time.